Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly comic book review. That's right everybody, time for the weekly comic book review here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and this is the show where I read a lot of comic books, and I'll let you know what I thought about them. But first of all, got to give a big shout out to David Hatch. Been down with us on our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/PCP since the beginning, our first patron, and continuing on. Thank you so much, David. I really do appreciate it. And let's get on to the weekly comic book review. And we always start with the pick of the week. And this week's pick of the week, Batman number 66. Tom King's Batman has been such a roller coaster for me. And right now, it's just all downhill. Fantastic thrills, exciting. Love it so much. So after 2 issues that crossed over with Flash that completely interrupted Tom King's Nightmare story, we're right back into it, right? And so this seems like a very disjointed series of issues. Each one has a different theme, each one has a different artist, each one has something weirdly surreal going on to Batman. You seem to get the idea that he's experiencing some kind of weird nightmares, some kind of weird visions and things like this. This one has artwork by Jorge Fornes, and it's basically a conversation between the Question and Catwoman about why, asking the question, why she chose to leave Bruce at the altar. This is a great exploration of not only Batman's history and Batman and Catwoman's history, but also a great exploration, a little bit of Year One tribute into it, but also a great reflection on Tom King's run on Batman, especially the romance between Catwoman and Batman and some of the earlier origins of that romantic relationship. I really like this one. It's got great, beautiful, brilliant, solid artwork by Jorge Fornes, colored by Dave Stewart, one of the best and most great colorists in the comic book industry. It is such an exceptional book. I loved it. A nice one and done story, a little bit confusing, very intriguing, but exceptionally well. And Jorge Fornes drawing the Question. Can we please get him and Elliot Rahal on a Question series right now? That would be amazing. Great artwork, luscious, beautiful coloring, and a really cool script with great dialogue and a great sense of flow and pace throughout. Great team. Great work for the entire team. Batman 66. That's the pick of the week. Also this week we got Doomsday Clock number 9. It's finally here. It's been delayed. Well worth the wait for me. I say this almost every single issue. It's an event, it's big, and it's the moment that we've been waiting for. We are seriously getting into the moments that we've been waiting for. Dr. Manhattan versus the DC Universe. This book has been really fun. Starts off as a very dense tribute to the Watchmen, kind of taking some of those ideas across dimensional boundaries into the DC Universe, pitting up the hope and optimism of the DC Universe with this nihilistic bleakness of Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons' Watchmen universe, right? And it's done exceptionally well, and as the story progresses, it starts feeling more and more like a DC book, but still with this really cool, slow build, big pace, lots of complex moving parts going around, and it's all really starting to come to a head. After what happened in the last issue with the big explosion, they really start tackling things. It starts going hard, and there's a lot of heroes in here. Beautiful artwork by Gary Frank and Brad Anderson. Exceptional work. I absolutely love Doomsday Clock number 9. Well worth the wait. Justice League number 19 is here, and holy cow, this is one of the best issues of this series yet. This is straight up one of my favorite superhero books on shelves today. It's big, it's boisterous, it's ridiculous, it's awesome, it's cosmic, it's huge, it's got epic ramifications for the DC Universe, and it's everything I want out of a Justice League comic book. Scott Snyder's doing a great job. You got Jorge Jimenez coming back on this issue with Alejandro Sanchez on this just beautiful colors. Very dynamic, great exciting layouts. The story moves briskly. It's got lots of cool big ideas in it. Scott Snyder and Jorge Jimenez plotted this one together. Just an exceptional team working together in conjunction. Really cool, crazy stuff. Mikshas Pitalik is in this issue just a little bit. This starts the 6th dimension story. I love the framing of the story that Snyder and Jimenez do at the beginning with the point. I'm sure each, you'll know what I'm talking about when you read it, but I'm sure each issue of the 6-issue series is going to explain and have a little bit thematically to do with each dimension. Oh man, whatever. This book is awesome. I love it. It's thrilling. It's huge. And and Justice League is maintained, right? But ever since the Drowned Earth story, there's been a lot of explanations happening. So it feels sometimes like the issues have been very exposition heavy lately. This gets straight back into some crazy action, great ideas, and wonderful character moments involving these characters. Fantastic stuff. Justice League. Number 19, out this week. Highly recommend that one. Another one I highly recommend is The Green Lantern number 5. Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp, Steve Olive, and company doing a fantastic job on this. All the weird loose threads start kind of coming together in this issue. If you've had questions, you're like, I don't understand why Hal's acting like that. I don't understand why this is going this way. I don't understand why this is plotted this way. It really starts kind of coming together in this issue. What Grant Morrison's doing is he's taking these weird cosmic Green Lantern type story ideas and he's just basically doing a straight up cop drama. Like every single issue of this has been a cliche or stereotypical episode in a cop drama, something like that. I absolutely am loving this book. Liam Sharp and Steve Olive on the artwork. It's astounding. It's astounding. Liam Sharp is already a veteran in this industry and he's pumping out the best work of his career right now. Everybody on this book is a veteran and they have the youthful energy of someone 20 years old. They're coming at it with new ideas, great layouts, great composition, beautiful luscious colors, a great pace throughout, fun, wacky, wild ideas, and just the skeleton of a stereotypical cop drama, but with all that Grant Morrison kooky weirdness, Liam Sharp intricate beautifulness, and Steve Olive's luscious palettes. Fantastic work from all involved, including the lettering too, and the editing team, the entire team. Fantastic work on The Green Lantern. Young Justice number 3 is out this week. Brian Michael Bendis, along with Patrick Gleason, and added in, who was the other artist that jumped in here? There's another artist. So this story, Young Justice, continuing the Young Justice stories from back in the day, Peter David. Superboy is back. In issue 2, we didn't have a lot of Superboy. It was mostly focused on Wonder Girl. This one focuses on Superboy, explains exactly what he's been up to, where he's been. It's framed by a story set in present day with artwork by Patrick Gleason. Victor Bogdanovic does the past story where they reveal what Superboy's been up to. It makes a lot of sense. You're not going to get a lot of details about wacky, weird, wild stuff happening continuity-wise or whatever, but it's a very simplistic explanation that I kind of dug. I really do like it. This started off with a big bang with issue number 1. It's some intriguing characters, but right now it seems like the story's just kind of like just rolling out just a little too slowly. Maybe it's because in this big first issue, second issue, you slow back down and explain what's been on with Wonder Girl. You slow back down in issue 3 to explain what's been going on with Con-El. And I'm sure they're going to be slowing down some things before also to explain what's been going on with Impulse, because with these characters returning back after the New 52, and then we got DC Rebirth, and now it just seems like a lot of things from the past are just there. Maybe it's all tied up with what's going to be happening in Doomsday Clock. Who knows? All I know is that Superboy's back. I like the explanation. I really do think it's fun. Young Justice number 3 out this week. Speaking of Superboys, Adventures of the Super Sons number 8 is here out of 12 issues, so we're getting close to the end of this story that takes place before Bendis has aged up Jonathan Kent. So these are the last adventures we're going to see, at least for a while, of a young Jonathan and a younger Damian. So I really like this book. It's been super fun the whole time. This Rex Luthor, he's like this kid that's like obsessed with the villains of Earth, and so he's like made his own miniature Legion of Doom. I like it. It's bonkers. It's fun. It's exactly what it should be. And Peter Tomasi knows how to write these characters. He knows how to write these characters together, and he continues to do so in Adventures of the Super Sons number 8. So we also got this new one from Marvel, Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History. This book is one of those things. There were a bunch of teasers out first, and they were like, everybody was thinking that Marvel was going to do something crazy to all change their history and reboot or something like that. Not at all. This is kind of a silly, fun, Deadpool-esque type story of, since Cosmic Ghost Rider's been stranded in the past, this is his adventures through the Marvel Universe. Little unseen bits, right? I think most of it's just bogus, but it is a fun story, and it does have a nice bit of the narrative structure that has a little bit of tragedy and depth to it, just like the Donny Cates miniseries that came before. I thought it was fun. It's super silly. It's wild. This issue focuses on all of Cosmic Ghost Rider's misadventures with the Fantastic Four throughout their history, so it recollects on a lot of Fantastic Four moments, and being a huge FF fan, that was super cool for me. Seems like they're setting up for Spider-Man to be in the next issue, so it's a nice little fun twisted version of Marvel history, because of Cosmic Ghost Rider's involvement, but it keeps the whole energy and character alive from Donny Cates. This is the first time I think this character has been written not by someone other than Donny Cates. They do a great job. I thought it was pretty fun, pretty fun. Meet the Skrulls, #1 is a new one, so we got the Captain Marvel movie coming out this week, and it's got Skrulls in it, so I guess Marvel's like, yeah, let's give them a Skrulls book. This is a really cool story about like a suburban family, but they're actually Skrulls. Maybe they got a secret mission, but maybe one of them just kind of wants to fit in, and it's kind of a struggle. Really cool story. I thought it was actually very, very well done. It's written by Robbie Thompson, artwork by Nico Henrichen. Fantastic. I absolutely love this. This is kind of like a little, even though it's a big mainstream title, it's kind of like a sleeper hit of the week type thing, because it seems it's going to be under a lot of people's radar maybe, but it's actually really good, kind of fun. Think about Tom King's Vision just a little bit, but a Skrull version of it, but it's not derivative or anything like that. I do love the artwork. I thought the story was really cool, had a nice flow to it, a nice hook. I really thought it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Age of X-Men rolls on through with Prisoner X, #1. This is the book that's going to focus on Bishop in prison, because in the Age of X-Men, if you don't conform, if you don't go along, you get put in prison. And so this is about the prison. You got cool little interesting, where are they, like Hank McCoy's in here, Gabby's in here. Great Bishop story, Polaris is there. This has probably been my favorite so far of the Age of X-Men books. I thought this one was incredibly well done. It's written by Vita Ayala, and the art is by German Peralta and Mike Spicer on the coloring. They are doing a great job on this book. I thought it was great. They nailed the characters. They nailed the tone of the story. Bishop is one of my favorite X-Men characters, and Ayala does a fantastic job. They do a great job. I loved it. Thought it was cool. And like I said, I'm actually really liking this Age of X-Men stuff. You know, the Age of Apocalypse was a mutant dystopia. This is a mutant utopia, but they both are twisted in the way that they control their society. And this one starts shedding a lot of lights on that, and I really like this version of the Beast. I think it's pretty cool. Uncanny X-Men #13 is out this week. This is the 3rd issue, written solely by Matt Rosenberg, with the return of Wolverine and Cyclops, and this has just been fun. This new team of X-Men, which includes Magic, it includes Havoc, it includes Multiple Man. It has been such a great, fun team thrown together, led by Cyclops and Wolverine. It's got all the energy and feel of the old school Wolverine stuff, including in this issue, some old school costumes. Really fun stuff. And like Carl pointed out over at the PCP Army, a little bit of an odd crotch shot there for the cover. But this book has been fun. This is a book I think a lot of X-Men fans have been waiting for, and 3 issues in, I am loving it. So much fun. Great story, decent art, great coloring. Avengers #16 is out this week, and look, there's Blade on the cover of Avengers in all of his glory. That's so freaking cool to me. I've been liking this War of the Vampire story. We're building up into War of the Realms. Blade's just temporarily joined the team to fight against some vampires, because the vampires are killing off all the other vampires, are going after Dracula. Lots of cool vampire horror, Marvel-driven type intrigue and coolness going on in this book. I really do like it. David Marquez on the penciling, doing a fantastic job. Not as clean as I'm typically used to, but I do like it, still enjoy it. Great energy, big developments going on with Ghost Rider in the pages of this issue too, and Blade is just so much fun, and I love the way Jason Aaron writes them, so I'm just so cool to have Blade spotlighted in a really cool way in a big marquee book from Marvel right now, and I think that's just super awesome. So, Avengers #16 out this week. The Immortal Hulk #14 is here. Now that Hulk is out of hell, we're going to have the funeral of Thunderbolt Ross, and that means a reunion opportunity for Bruce Banner and Betty. So Bruce and Betty having a conversation, some interesting things, some new villains or some new old villains are set back up in such a way. But one of my favorite things about this issue was Kyle Hotz on the penciling. I haven't seen anything from Kyle Hotz in forever. I always thought he was such an amazing penciler, especially when it comes to a horror comic. Perfect on something like the Immortal Hulk. And I do believe he did some Hulk work back in the day with Paul Jenkins, if I remember correctly. Immortal Hulk #14 continues on the trend of a horrific take on the Hulk, very dark, very creepy, and did a great job with this issue. I really, really liked it. Killmonger #5 is here. This is the final issue of the series by Brian Hill and Juan Ferreira. This book has been fantastic. Whoever thought that a Killmonger miniseries would be cool? This is basically Killmonger Year One. This is one of Marvel's best comic books on shelves right now. The artwork is straight up superb. It has some of the best, absolutely cool superhero action scenes, big dynamic shots, big double page spreads. I love the flow of this book. I love the coloring. I love the texture of the artwork. Fantastic stuff. Brian Hill, this is one of his best superhero books he's ever written. This is so good. It's got me so hype. I want to go back and read some old school Killmonger stuff after reading this. It did its job. It did a great job of telling the origin of Killmonger, taking a little bit of that movie sensibility from the Black Panther film and merging it in with a classic Marvel Eric Killmonger and just making one really compelling and engaging villain and a really cool origin story for him that sets up a lot of interest into the character. Now they just need to get him back. Right? Absolutely. Amazing Spider-Man 16-point HU. 16-point HU. So let's explain this point HU thing. So the hunted story is going on in Spider-Man right now. We had a prelude last week. This is basically kind of like a prelude. It starts next week. And what's going to happen is that the main issues of Spider-Man that are going to be the main story are going to be regularly numbered. But there are going to be other things. Think of them as tie-ins, little one-shot stories that are going to focus in on a specific villain, I believe. Then those are going to be the point HU. So it's in a way, kind of like a way to disguise the fact that the book is being published weekly, basically, for the next little bit. But the setup for the hunted story is really, really cool. This issue focuses on Black Cat, her relationship with Peter, their history together, what's been going on with her, catching you up, and setting it all up, tying it into a little bit of last week's issue of Spider-Man and into next week's issue of Spider-Man. So the hunted story is really cool. If you've been enjoying Nick Spencer and what he's been doing on Amazing Spider-Man, highly recommend that you pick it up. Do not skip it. Pretty fun stuff. I really did like it. Avengers No Road Home #4. This issue kind of got very intriguing again. So now we're getting the origin of Nyx, what she's been doing, what she's up to, how she came free, and how that's tied into No Surrender. Really cool. I like all the explanations. I thought it was made a lot of sense. The artwork's pretty solid. The book is all right. Like I said last week, it's not completely memorable, but this issue actually was, because it took the villain, it explained it, and it raised the stakes just a little bit, let us know what we were going on about. And maybe one of the reasons why I like this one so much is because it focused less on the Avengers and more on the villains. So the villains, their plot, what they've done, that's been very intriguing to me. But this team of Avengers, I don't know. Something about it's just not clicking. Not good chemistry yet, but it's because this is an event-driven book, right? It's not really necessarily character-driven, though they are doing some neat character work with the relationship between Hulk and Clint Barton, and they're doing some interesting work with Herc, with all of his, you know, struggling with the tragedy that's going on in the first few pages of the first few issues of this book. Anyway, No Road Home, it's pretty decent. It's all right. And issue 4 was one of the better ones. Explains a little bit. I thought set up a lot of cool stuff. Conan the Barbarian #4 is here, and this is the best issue of the series yet. I really was only anticipating reading this book for like 2 to 3 issues. They keep bringing me back. This is fantastic. We got a guest artist on this one, Gerardo Zavino, with Matt Wilson still on the coloring. It's a great story about when Conan became the king and how to him that kind of felt like a cage. He felt trapped. He's a barbarian. He's not meant to be a king. So it's a nice reflection. This whole story's been a nice reflection on the entire history of Conan, from the barbarian through his younger days into his older days as a king. Really cool stuff. It sets up an ominous tone as well. Jason Aaron is having the time of his life, and I'm having the time of my life reading along with it. Never thought I'd be this intrigued with a Conan book, and I really, really am. Fantastic stuff. Star Wars Vader, Dark Visions is out, and because of the cover, initially I thought this was going to be like an alternate history versions of Star Wars characters and things like that. That's not what it is at all. This is basically just like a one-shot Vader story. Each one's going to be like a one-shot Vader story, but kind of like through the eyes of a certain character in a way, if you think about it. It's kind of like that Batman Gotham Knight animated movie that DC did that was just phenomenal, that had a different vision of Batman. It had that one story where all the kids were explaining that one overall Batman story, but they all had their own interpretation. It's going to be kind of like that, but not exactly like that. Anyway, it was all right. It was okay. If you're a super hardcore Star Wars guy, get it, but it's not going to replace the Vader series that we just lost. Either the Gillen one or the Soul one, because both of those are awesome. But I'll tell you what, the Greg Smallwood cover is awesome. And yes, Vader does write a horsey type thing in that issue, and that Pretty cool. Age of Republic is back with a Padme Amidala one-shot special. This one has been, just like the rest of them, pretty fun. Ultimately, not really that big of a deal, but a very fun story that focuses on Padme and her role as a diplomat, as an ambassador, and as just a badass person in the Star Wars universe. I really did like it. One of my favorite things about this, though, is the artwork. Corey Smith, Wilton Santos, amazing stuff. Walton Wong, Mark Daring on the inking, Java Targalia doing the coloring. The artwork is really, really good. It's so solid, so fresh, so clean, very just crisp. I really, really liked it. And a nice story that focuses a little bit on Padme. So if you've been liking those, I highly encourage you to keep checking them out. So a new one from Oni Press, Morning in America. I was excited about this one. I'm a big fan of Magdalene Visaggio, so I was very excited to see what she was going to cook up for this. It's set in Ohio in 1983, and kids start disappearing in this town, so it's up to this one group of misfits, basically, to save the day. Real fun, kind of Stranger Things vibe, but it's not steeped in nostalgia or anything like that. It's steeped in great dialogue, great character interactions, great characters that just immediately are likable and charming and engaging. Really did a great job, they did, on this one. I love the art as well. Claudia Aguilera with Zach Sam on the lettering. This book was really sharp, really fun, a really cool, interesting setup. Visaggio's just got a great pace, great dialogue. The art, just everything works in conjunction together to make a really fun book that feels real, but also feels cool and fantasy driven. And I really, really liked it. Morning in America, #1 out this week. From Boom Studios, we got Ronin Island, #1. This is from Greg Pak and a couple others who, I'm not even going to do them the disservice of trying to mispronounce their name. But this book was actually really cool. I didn't hear about this one until the live stream on Sunday when everybody asked me about Ronin Island. I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. Really cool. It's about this island that has the inhabitants of this island. They're kind of making their own society. There's some people from Japan, some people from China, some people from Korea, and they're just trying to have their own peaceful existence, right? But of course, that can't always be the case. Outside forces start coming in. Of course, outside government forces, but also maybe some outside supernatural forces. Really intriguing stuff. Greg Pak and company did a great job on this one, setting up a great story, introducing a cool concept that's very easy to grasp and very intriguing, and a great hook that has you wanting to come back for issue 2. Ronin Island, straight up, something to really check out this week. Astro Hustle, #1 from Dark Horse Comics. I wasn't going to read this book until I saw that cover. This cover is amazing. I love this kind of like 80s retro vibe, like purple, hot pink, neon blue. I love this kind of color combination. So I wanted to check it out and see what it was. A few pages in, I was like, you know, this doesn't feel like it's going to be for me. And then it completely shifted gears, and it was a real fun, crazy sci-fi story with some really cool concepts, some betrayal, some fun ideas, and some really cool, simple, elegant artwork. Really cool story, really cool sci-fi stuff, a really nice world that's being built up, interesting characters. I really do like it. It's kind of like a tribute to like old school UK type comics, like old 2000 AD and things like that, but it feels good, gritty sci-fi that just not afraid to take some chances. And I really thought Astro Hustle #1 was pretty good. Black Hammer 45 #1 is here from Dark Horse Comics in the world of Black Hammer. This is written by Jeff Lemire and Ray Fox with artwork by Matt Kent. I'm a huge fan of the Kents, so I was really excited for this. Kent is an acquired taste in this industry, I would believe. I don't think his art's going to really be to the style of most people, but if you're cool with all of the art you've seen on Black Hammer books so far, I think you're going to be cool with this. It's experimental, it's different, it's unique, it's got its own style. I really like it. I think it's cool. This is the story, just like you would think, about 1945 in the Black Hammer universe, and it's about this squadron of pilots and their little journey against the Ghost Hunter. Really cool stuff. I really like it. When Jeff Lemire was creating Black Hammer, and he's had this stuff in his head for so long, he's created this whole world, this whole universe, and he's filling this all out with just a handful of issues, and it's really excellent. He's creating such an interesting and rich and complex history for his world, just like the DC universe, and he's only done it in a handful of years as opposed to 80 years. I think he's doing a great job with Black Hammer, and Black Hammer #45 was great. Not the best first issue of any of these Black Hammer spin-offs, but it's still very intriguing, great characters, and a great, cool situation set up that has me intrigued for more, because I just eat up the Black Hammer stuff. Paper Girls is back. Paper Girls #26. This book has been so much fun, so much wild, crazy, time-driven sci-fi style type stuff, and I love it. In this one, the characters are all flung out into different times and places and spaces and all that stuff, and we all catch up because this book's been on hiatus for a couple months, so it's just easy to jump right back in. No matter how long it's been, no matter how confusing the story gets, I just jump right back in, and it feels fresh, it feels fun. And seriously, if Cliff Chiang, Matt Wilson, and Brian K. Vaughan are not doing some top-notch, some of the best comic books out right now, I don't know what I'm talking about. Paper Girls, number 26, out this week, and it's a treat. Cemetery Beach number 7 is here. This is the final issue of the Warren Ellis, Jason Howard, just crazy, fun, gritty, edgy, sci-fi action, just slam bang fest. Fantastic stuff. This book has been fast, it's been ferocious, it's been very quick and very lean, right? And when you get to the end and it all wraps up, it all comes together and wraps up in such a nice bow, and it puts this spin on the rest of the series that's very, very cool, very intriguing. I cannot wait to sit down and get back into this. High energy artwork from Jason Howard, a great, fun, lean script from Warren Ellis. It doesn't try to get too heavy, but it gets just heavy enough to put the whole series in a spin. I really liked the final issue of Cemetery Beach. Girl in the Bay number 2 is here, and it's intriguing. J.M. DeMatteis debuted this last month. I thought the first issue was pretty cool. It's about this woman who dies in 1969, and then she all of a sudden appears in 2019. But she comes to find out that there's an older version of her that's lived this whole life. What is the mystery? I don't know. We still don't know, but lots more clues are presented in this issue. It's just such a great, well-done issue. The dialogue is great. The pace throughout. Corn Howe, James Devlin, they do a great job of just taking it, making it really fluid, really fun, very intriguing. And a book 2 issues in, and it's just based around this big mystery. So much we don't know, and it's still very, very engaging. Absolutely. Oberon, number 2 from Aftershock Comics, Ryan Parrott and Milo Slavkovic. I really like this one so far. A fantasy book. It's really cool. It's about this young lady who never thought that she had magic powers or was part of it, and this fairy king comes and gets her and says, you know, I'm going to teach you how to use your magic and all that stuff, but not is all that it seems, and dude may not be the best dude. But this has been a fun book, great artwork, really cool fantasy story, easily accessible, and really cool characters. I'm very intrigued by it. Blossoms 666 number 2 is part of the Archie horror line, where they take their Archie characters and do a horrific spin on it, like Jughead as a werewolf, Veronica as a vampire, Riverdale as zombies, Sabrina as an actual witch, you know, like an evil witch, things like that. You know the Netflix show, right? This is along that same vein. This takes the Blossoms, Cheryl and Jason Blossom, the two, you know, redheaded rich kids from Riverdale, and what if one of them's going to be the Antichrist? And so they're kind of like battling it out amongst each other, sibling rivalry. It's real fun, and I like it. It's got a nice little twist at the end that I thought was really, really cool. Great artwork, great story. I'm really liking it. Fantastic reinterpretation, horrific reinterpretation of some Archie characters. Archie's just been taking some chances, some bold moves, and it's been paying off. Red Sonja number 2 is here, and I don't typically read Red Sonja, nor do I typically read it for more than 2 issues, but Mark Russell's doing this one, and he's doing a fine job. Mirko Kolak, Deborah Kelly, Haas from Panel by Panel is on the lettering. The lettering is top-notch. I really try to pay attention to the lettering because he's been talking about it on Twitter a lot. Hand-drawn sound effects, paying attention to the placement. I love the edginess around the word balloons. The story's fun. It's really cool. Red Sonja is thrust into being a queen of this like down and out little village, and then there's this bigger, you know, kingdom trying to come in and take over, and she's just kind of thrown in the situation, but she makes the best of it. Really fun story. I really like the artwork. I really do like this, and that's odd to me because Red Sonja is not typically something I would think, and here I am reading Red Sonja and Conan and enjoying them. Fantastic stuff. And finally, let's talk about Fourth Life number 3, the penultimate issue of the book from Dance Panda Comics and my good friend Lance Allen. Dance Panda and Lance, I've worked with them before on a book called Black Spec. Fantastic stuff. I'll throw a link down below. You should totally check out his page, dancepandacomics.com. You can find some of their stuff on Gumroad, some of it on Comixology. He's just released the 3rd issue of Fourth Life. This one's got artwork by Paul Spencer and luscious coloring by Lance himself. Lance is getting better at the coloring, and I was paying attention to his lettering in this issue, and he's getting really, really good at that too. Some nice little tricks that he's been doing with the lettering that I think really work work, some really cool, interesting things to do. The story is getting a little bit clear, and by the end of it, by the end of the issue, I am all set up to see the execution of the final issue coming very, very soon. So check out FourthLifeDancePandaComics.com. Check them out on Gumroad, Comixology, and all that stuff, and tell them PCP sent you. So that's what I read this week, and that's what I thought about it. What are you excited for? What are you reading? What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments down below. We love talking about comics. If you want to talk about comics even more, you should check us out at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts. And you should also check out our official Facebook group, PCP Army, where you can talk about comics with us and our friends and fans and family all day long. So thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.